nice to have you with us here on the studios of the Nigerian Television Authority, and the program is Conversations. My name is Elizabeth. Now, every day we all get up. Nigerians are always on the road, and it's commendable because we're very hardworking people. We must go to work. We must achieve one thing or the other. Now, getting up, Nigerian roads, driving down. Of course, most of us are either using the public transport or our personal cars. Don't tell me what you see on the road. A lot of them are not pleasant. A lot of them, too, are good. But the basic thing is that we have people on the road, giving us sanity as we move, the law enforcement agents. My problem now is there are so many of them. What are their jobs? Where does one person's job or one agency's job begin and stops? Where does the other one starts and stop? Very confusing. Sometimes I have to do a 20-minute trip, from my house to the office. I take as much as 1 hour. I'll get to find out those details. And the questions already raised, but we'll be answering. When I say we, it's because I have people who have had experience and people who also are, well-vested to speak on this topic. I have Z in the house. Z, it's nice to have you back. What were you doing all this lockdown period?
I was getting my mental sanity together.
Okay.
It's needed in this period, the whole pandemic, everything shut down, money not in circulation. You have to find your zen. So I was meditating.
Exactly. It's important. It helps you keep safe. And we still have our security expert in the house, Kabiru Adamu Ada. Nice to have you with us.
A pleasure. It's
you look different when you walked in, because for the first time I'm seeing you without the suit.
Exactly.
That is good.
Reflection of the mood.
It's a reflection of the mood, right? Okay, that's interesting. All right, we're going to take a little break because some Nigerians actually complained, but we'll be going straight to a young man who's had lots of experience, according to him, with law enforcement agents on the road. He spoke out and spoke out real good. When we come back, the show takes off proper. Don't forget, it is participatory. That means you can actually write in and share your experience with us.
There was this day I was traveling to Benue State. After Makurdi, I was going to, I think, Otukbo or so. There is this Air Force base immediately after Makurdi. They have this police checkpoint there, and they stopped me. And the officers asked me to give them ECMI. Yeah, I remember it was ECMI. And ECMI has been scrapped by the law during Tafa Balogu's time as the police IG. And I asked him, what is ECMI for? He told me that it's supposed to be part of my document. And I told him that it has been scrapped. And he asked me if I was teaching him his own job. Now, in this guy, he doesn't even know his own job, because if he knows or is well informed on what he should be doing on the road, he shouldn't ask me of ECMI, because it was no longer effective in the law as part of the documents that every vehicle must carry. Now, the other day also, the VIO stopped me and asked me for my particulars. I gave it to them. They asked me for, what was it called? Certificate of roadworthiness. Now, upon paying for my particulars, for the renewal, I paid in full. But they said I was to go and do inspection before I can get certified. When I went for inspection a week before the lockdown, they said that my car wasn't roadworthy. Why? Because my handbrake wasn't very effective. It holds, but they said it was not very effective. And my stabilizer linkage, according to them, is weak. These were the two reasons why they couldn't issue me certificate of roadworthiness for the car. Now, after lockdown, I think sometime towards the end of May or early June, while the lockdown was still on, the VIO man stopped me, and I told him that the certificate of roadworthiness is not yet available because there is lockdown. I can't even access your office to do it. And he felt like penalizing me for not having it, while they were the ones that refused giving it to me when I went for it. That they gave me 1 month to go and fix those things in my car and come back to be certified. Now, I couldn't go because of lockdown, and he tried to still make a case out of it. But thank God, a superior officer who understood what was going on, who understood that it wasn't really my fault because I have done my own part to go and pay. But they've not issued it to me until lockdown started. He now came and asked the guy to let me go. Now, sometimes you see a policeman stop you and ask you for things like fire extinguisher, triangle. It is not even their duty. All I think the police should ask for is ask for particulars to ascertain the ownership of the car we are pulling, to be sure it is not a stolen vehicle. But when it comes to asking for fire extinguisher or triangle, it's like the policeman leaving the duties of the VIO or road safety to start asking you what they shouldn't ask you for. So I just feel their duties should be well defined to them. If not, they will keep bringing embarrassing situations to people. There was this other day, one guy was traveling too with a Toyota Corolla. The policeman asked him to show him the engine number. And this man asked him to find it. You are a law enforcement agency. You should know where these things are. It took them like 5 minutes. The police officer couldn't locate the engine number in the car. The man showed him the one that is by the windscreen. He still wanted the one on the engine. It took them time. After a while, the man now showed him where it was. But it's even a shame for such to even happen. Do you get me? So it is quite embarrassing to have certain things happen because, and sometimes if you watch it, when they ask for these things, it's not because they want to do the right thing, but because they want to extort money from you. If at the end you can't produce this thing that they're asking for, which may not be in their line of duty, they will not expect you to give them something. They will tell you that they're taking to their office, and the next they'll keep it for 30 minutes. Yes, if you have to arrest me and take me to your office, do it right now. Not saying you're going to take me to your office and the next 30 minutes you keep me there, you won't even attend to me because you want to waste my time, so that I will tip you something and then go out. And you know Nigerians, we're always all in a hurry. So they use these delay tactics to keep us there so that we will tip them. But thank God, I've never fallen for such tip. I will always insist, take me to your office or I'll leave.
Captured everything, almost everything actually on the road as we see it every day. I'm not saying that all the law enforcement agents are bad. A lot of times I have actually enjoyed help from them. But my point is there's so many of them on the road. I know about road safety. I know about the VIO. I know about the police. Sometimes we have SARS. Sometimes we have even military. And you know the rest of them. You're the expert here.
Nigerians know the rest of them. I mean, even outside your studio, as you drive out, you see different law enforcement agents trying to make themselves busy, actually.
There's something I have often wondered. Maybe Z, have you had this experience? They seem to enjoy, stopping female drivers.
Because they feel we're weak.
Uh-oh.
It's true.
It's true.
There's that gender bias that comes up, especially in law and security enforcement. They look at the woman as like she's weak and it's easier to get her to crumble or to submit to whatever it is they need. I get that a lot, but because, I have this face that says, I don't have your time, they usually are like, Madam, go. But there's some that insist that they want to showcase their true talent. And then I show them that me too, I have talent. Let's act it out.
Not too long ago, I recall I was going through Area 1, the roundabouts area, just before the roundabouts. A VIO officer, VIO asked me to pull by. I pulled by, he asked me my papers. I gave him all the papers. There were some others in front, like 20, less than maybe a quarter of a mile. Mm-hmm. It's not up to a quarter.
Like
it's less than a quarter, like some
cars.
feet. After where he stopped me, I could see them. They could see me, but they weren't paying mind to what was happening where we were. As soon as the guy checked me, I was okay. He said, "Madam, go." I trafficated to join the third road again. As I was joining, the next one was flagging me to park well. I said, "What is it?" He said, "Park." I said, "What's your problem? Your colleague just checked me. It's not like it's a different uniform." Uh-huh. He said, "How was I supposed to know?" I said, if you're
paying attention.
If you're a security officer, you should know what is going on. You should
That's
have your eye open.
Rule.
And I think what you've just mentioned is the experience a lot of Nigerians, unfortunately. And it speaks to the lack of communication between different units that are out on the road. A lot of times, the other point is also lack of command and control. Someone there should have been in command who, once you are cleared, that person knows you are cleared and no other person within that unit should clear you. Perhaps in the course of the discussion, we can also talk about the role of technology. In advanced countries, it is technology that actually takes care.
I was going to actually come to that, but I needed to find out if you have the same experience where you're supposed to do a 20 minutes journey or 10 minutes journey, and you are on the road almost at a standstill or at a crawling speed for another 30 minutes, another 1 hour.
Because of every checkpoint. That happened to me actually. The beginning of the lockdown, when you come out of my house, there's this intersection, what's it called, T-junction. So I crossed over, and then there were 3 different security, are they even security people? People in uniform. VIO, FRS, CED, and then police. And I'm like, first of all, this is Maitama. Why do we need 3 different checkpoints? Second of all, this is Corona season where there should be less human interaction. Why are there 3 different checkpoints? Like one after the other. And they're not looking for anything in particular. It's not like they're asking you, oh, where is your mask? Where is your hand sanitizer? Do you know how to, sanitize your hands? They're just, oh, madam, how are you? Anything for the boys?
Now your boys did this road, dude. Like you're not paid. Like your salary is smaller than my own.
Somewhere in the breakdown of my salary, it says security tip. No. The same way you make your monthly salary and you don't feel the need to anything for the boys, is the same way I make my salary and I am not doing anything for the boys.
You haven't been hard hit. Police or whatever agent hasn't stopped you on the road and say, baby, yeah, you're so fine. Can you give me your phone number? That's a regular thing.
To who? No, to the probably people that look like their mates.
That's a regular thing.
You can't stop me and say, oh, can I
have your number? I want to be calling you once in a while.
No, tell your Oga to call me.
Anyway.
To speak to the point you raised, that was something that came to the fore during the lockdown. Unfortunately, there was a government directive for enforcement of the lockdown, but there was no guideline that followed that directive. So what happened was a lot of the security agencies interpreted the directive the way they understood it. We talked about it. Even in NTA, I spoke about it at that time, that there was a need to develop a guideline to help the security agencies enforce the lockdown. Unfortunately, I think an industry emerged from that. It's well documented. What they did is they started collecting money from especially transporters, unfortunately. And it's the infamous statement by a particular governor where he spoke to this industry and said he was going to disband the security agencies that were on the route. So that's another element, I think, in the whole setup that we're talking about, the absence of clear guidelines for these security agencies. The other component of that is the lack of supervision as well as monitoring and evaluation. When you tell somebody to go on the route, you've not given him money for food, you've not given him the equipment he needs to do his job, he has responsibilities. The likelihood is that he's going to use that opportunity to generate funds, as it were. And that explains the kind of circumstances that we find on our roads. They are armed, they are hungry most times, they have needs, and unfortunately that is all transferred to the average Nigerian, who most times is unable to defend himself.
I beg to always differ when people say because somebody is hungry, you do things. At one point or the other in most of all our lives, we've been at a zero level, as in broke.
Definitely.
Yes.
But if the instinct of going to steal is not in you, you will not steal. I have had my moments, and I didn't need to prostitute, I didn't need to steal, I didn't need to, covet or do any such thing. What I did was to look inward. What is it that I can do extra? Even if it was hawking vegetable, I could do that and earn extra money. There's dignity in labor. But back to that, you mentioned agencies. We hear a lot of them and see a lot of them on the road. Can you clearly tell us? Because each time road safety man stops me, the first thing is your driver's license, I give him. Car particulars, I give him. Probably he may go extra mile to ask you for fire extinguisher, and all other things. You present all that. At the point, I gave all I had, and it looked like if I was very good. The man was like, "We don't need people like you on the road. You overcorrect." But that's on a comic side. What should the policeman be looking for from me? What should the VIO be looking for from me? What should the road safety be looking for from me? What should all the other people? I don't know all their names, but I know the uniforms are something else.
But Lizzie, my question is, why do we need all of these agencies that do the same thing? Well, I understand we're trying to create jobs, but I feel like there's a smarter, more intellectual way to create jobs than making the same agencies with different names.
Okay.
You're asking me a question that, frankly, I don't think anyone in Nigeria can answer at the moment, and I say this with all sense of responsibility. We're all privy to the, split part between the road safety and the VIO over the issuance of licensing. In fact, at the last time, I know they created a point where all of them were together for the issuance of that licensing. The point I'm trying to make is that there is some level of unclarity regarding the functions of some of these organizations, and it is that lack of clarity that has created the situation that we're in, on the one hand. On the other hand, some of these agencies capitalize on the constitutional authority they have for some functions. As an example, the police. The police role is law enforcement largely. So if they stop you to ask for, let's say, your vehicle particulars, they are not the issuing authority. So what they are trying to do at that point in time is to confirm that you are the owner of the vehicle. And that is why the issue of chassis number comes up, like the interviewer, the person that was interviewed mentioned. That chassis number, they will tie it to the name on the vehicle particulars and then confirm that you are the owner of that document. But it's not as if they are trying to confirm the authenticity, which is what road safety or VIO would do. Now, with regards to the role of the road safety, it's clear. Everything that would ensure safety on our roads. So the functionality of your vehicle, are you driving on and making a phone call? Are your trafficators, are they functional? Are you wearing your seatbelt? All things like that.
So why did they ask me about my car insurance?
Well, because if you're in an accident, as an example, how would you take care of yourself? Or if you hit somebody, how would you take care of that person? So it's a transferred role, as it were. They want to make sure that as a driver, you have all that it takes to take care of yourself and the third party. Now, for the VIO, of course, issues around vehicle particulars and several other things around the vehicle itself. But the authority that each and every one of them has can be used for another function. And I think that is where this lack of clarity comes up. But in all of this, and I align with her statement regarding the multiplicity of agencies on the road, technology would have solved that problem.
Exactly.
But in terms of our identity management, for technology to come into place, we have to have an identity management system that speaks clearly. So, for instance, if you go and obtain a license plate number, it is tied to an identity. So if you are driving and whoever it is, the VIO, road safety, whatever, takes that number, he's able to go into a system, and then everything about you comes up. Now, this happens in developed countries. It comes up, and sometimes they don't even need to follow you. They send the letter to your home. You beat a traffic light, they send the letter to your home. If you like, don't pay. That letter says maybe pay 5,000 naira. If you like, there will be, of course, a penalty if you don't pay that 5,000 naira at the end of the month. That 5,000 naira continues to grow. If you don't pay it, believe me, in 3 years, that 5,000 naira will probably become 300,000 naira. And one day,
if you don't pay it, your license gets suspended.
Exactly.
You don't
And you
pulled
can't
over
drive.
the next time, they take you to the police station. I mean, I understand there's a need to raise money. There's a smart way to raise this money without extorting people. Like you said, it's simple technology. Even if the police officer stops you, your car registration number is in the system. If you have an ID card, you have a driver's license, your car is registered, it should be in a centralized system. It's really simple. If you're driving in the US right now, your driver's license, once you hand over your driver's license to the police officer that stops you, he puts in your driver's license number. It will bring out every single ticket they've ever given you, every suspension if your license has ever been suspended. It will bring up all your car maintenance every time you take your car to get serviced or whatever, that comes up. Your insurance, if it's lapsed, when it's lapsing. It would even bring up if you've been arrested and there's a police warrant. All that is in a central database that every place you go to, it comes up.
You know, it's funny because we have had a lot of biometrics here in Nigeria, you know, and at the end of the day, you enter a place, they still want to do your thumbprint. You know, my own fingerprints from too much sanitizer, I think I'm beginning to look for it. You go to some places, they thumbprint me like 20 times before they can get one fingerprint. And I'm like, since I was born, you've been thumbprinting me. I don't know what's going on. But back to the road law enforcement agents. Now, each time my license is about to expire, my car particulars, they always send me a reminder. Your papers will expire in the next 7 days. That tells me that 1 year ago I registered, they have my info. And when I do register, even before I get to collect the hard copy, they would have sent me a soft copy telling me that I have been renewed, you know, and re-registered. It also tells me that they have my document. And if I just type in my car plate number, everything about my car comes up. So that means they have everything around me. Why then do they still need me to be carrying my papers about? I mean, if my paper is about to expire, they know. So the paper that is about to expire, they should be able to flag me off, you know, to their different centers. They actually know where my contact address is. So they can say, okay, this car number with this color, with all those stuff is operating within this axis. Once you see how you flag her down, or see the car, flag the person down. It could be anybody using my car. So that way, if I'm being stopped, it limits the number of people they get to check on the road.
I agree with you totally. And to that extent, I think we should commend the VIO for this effort that you've described. They are beginning. It's the beginning process. The baby steps have started.
These baby steps started some years back.
I know, but if
the baby is not growing.
That's the point.
Who's in charge of making all these agencies? Is it National Assembly? Are they the ones that come up with these agencies?
Are you talking of the laws for the creation of the agency?
No, who is the person that sits down in his office and says, today I'm going to create FRSC. Tomorrow I want COD. Next day, who is responsible for this?
It's a function of the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government. One can create the bill for the creation of the agency, and then the National Assembly will pass the law.
Will now pass it.
Or sometimes it could come from the National Assembly itself. They would, you know, a law for the creation of a particular agency and then send it to the executive for ascension.
Okay, there's a reason why I'm asking this question. Because I feel like we need people in security. Not people that are working on the streets calling themselves security. People that have actually taken higher educational courses on security to create these security bodies. We don't need the you and me that will make it from our own common sense and what will make us feel happy. So we can limit all
of this.
Yes.
The reality is that they have functions. They do.
It's just that they are finding it difficult to understand where their borders are. But you know, going back to what we talked about, you mentioned how in foreign crime, you could be flagged down and your information imputed. There's an app that is owned by the VIO. This is it, Abuja Inspector. Now, with this app, I can actually log in. You see the login? I can actually log in
And verify
and verify when is my car document expiring. Is it actually registered? The status of my vehicle entirely. I can find it out from here. I can actually still reach customer service. So why does the policeman or the VIO or the road safety need to flag me down? You know?
Let me tell you a ridiculous thing that happened to me. Personal experience about just before the COVID-19 issue started. I bought a new vehicle and asked my driver to go and register it. He registered it, and as he was coming back, of course, papers had not been issued to him. He was told to come back and collect it. As he was coming back home, SARS stopped him, and then, of course, detained him and the vehicle under the guise that it's a suspected vehicle. It could have been stolen. And he called me. I asked him, did you explain to them that you're coming from the VIO office and that the vehicle papers are already in the central system, that all they need to do is to call the VIO office? To cut the long story short, he was detained. The same, environment, but the VIO, the SARS are in Abuja. I had to call the head of the SARS officer to mention to him this before the driver was released. Now I'm privileged I had that opportunity to call. What if I hadn't? So the point, I brought up this experience to explain the point that the issue of lack of synergy between our security agencies is the cause of a lot of the challenges that we're having. If only at the strategic level, there will be more synergy, where the same app that you've talked about, where the registry of the VIO can be accessible to the police as an example, then sometimes all of these challenges will not occur.
Exactly.
And the danger for us as a country is that the respect and love we have for these security agencies is depleting by the day.
Exactly.
If they stop me on the road, and I'm with my family as an example, I'm going to the hospital and there is a road inspection, road check or whatever they are calling it, and I'm delayed, I'm not happy. By the time I come to them, I'll probably be a bit aggressive. So they need to realize that sometimes it is their action that is causing this love between them and us.
You're dying, you're ill, you're battling to get to a clinic, like you said, and you find yourself in the traffic, wasting like 45 minutes. You get to the point, you find out that the only thing that caused that traffic is because somebody is asking for, where is your paper? Where your paper? Anything for your boys. Simple. So why would I want to give you anything?
And even if, I shouldn't give you anything, really, because you are out there to help me, not to collect from me.
Exactly. This happened during this, when we had the 8 o'clock curfew. So, unfortunately for me, I'm asthmatic. I came out around 8:15 to go to the pharmacy because the drips for my nebulizer, I just realized had finished. So I needed to go and buy. Coming out like that intersection again, the guy stopped me. Madam, what are you doing outside? I said, I'm going to the pharmacy. You're not supposed to be outside. I said, Oga, do you know the law that they give to you people? What are you trying to say? I said, I'm asking you because you're telling me I'm not supposed to be outside. I'm telling you I'm going to the pharmacy. In the rule that they gave, you're allowed to come out to go to the pharmacy. You're allowed to go to the hospital. It is health reasons. Do you want me to sit in my house and die? But there's a curfew of 8 o'clock. You should know to get it before 8 o'clock. I said, health issues does not know curfew. You either go or you die. So that's why I'm asking you, do you know the law that was given to you that you're standing out here trying to imply? You don't know it. I said, then I should be wearing your uniform because it seems I know more of your job than you know.
I can imagine in police uniform. All right, we have some mails coming in. Let's quickly, interact with our viewers. This person didn't say, he said, the name is not written. Even if the federal government pays the police 500,000, they must beg for arms. It's corruption. The beautiful ones are not yet born. Okay, let's hope that we get to change it sometime. Good morning, moderator. Can you kindly extend the discussion to the extortion spree of the police on commercial drivers using non-uniformed men to achieve this on the roads? It's very rampant and it's frustrating. It frustrates the drivers on the road. Thank you. This is Femi from Ketu. I don't know. K2, okay?
K2 is Lagos
And
Abuja.
we have, I am not happy the police motivates in wasting people's time. But note that creation of VIO, road safety, NDLA, EFCC, and others do not in any way stop police from doing the duties of these agencies. The relevant laws have not been changed, okay? More participation. Why bring an ignorant person to the road? All right, this does not actually tell us what he means. In spite of multiple law enforcement agents in Abuja, there is so much lawlessness in Abuja that amazes me. In the city where the president, lawmakers, IG leave drivers run red lights with impunity and total disregard to the lives of other road users. Taxis pick and drop passengers on the expressway in the presence of law enforcement agents. What is wrong with us? You know, this thing now, it actually makes it. This is Dr. Oluwale Osani, and I totally agree with him because a lot of times I see people break rules, and the law enforcement agents are there. You know, the police number one, or not just police, the law enforcement agents number one are doing checkpoints, and like good Nigerian I am, I like to stay in line. You queue up. People will be busy, you know, shunting and doing all that. They get to the point where the policeman or the VIO or the federal road safety person is, and he just waves them. Ordinarily, you should be able to tell the person to go back. And you're watching it happen.
For me, I call it the disrespect of the uniform. Because if, as a Nigerian, you break the law in the presence of a uniformed person, and then he waves you, and then me that is abiding by the law, I'm the one whose time is being wasted, then frankly it's a disrespect of the uniform.
I mean,
the one that
shouldn't the uniform respect itself?
Exactly.
When you don't respect yourself, how do you expect to get respected? That uniform has been tainted because you know 50 naira can put you people apart. 50 naira can join problem. You know that if you say, do you know who I am? And you bust your chest, they will crumble, say go. I'm calling your guy right now.
But can we ask ourselves why that is the situation?
Because they don't respect the uniform they are wearing, so why should I respect the uniform?
So there is a reason for that, and I think this is, and I hope some of the authorities are listening to us. When last did anyone check the training manuals of these organizations? When last did anyone go to the schools where these personnel are being trained?
Well, every
because
year there's
where
a
you are a
budget for
product of your training, really, your background, your training. So if your training is bad, garbage in, garbage out, really. So my point is, you know, beyond what we are seeing on the street, we need to look at the recruitment process, look at the training process, and then of course the equipment. Most of them are buying their uniforms themselves. Most of them are buying their equipment.
They're buying their jobs. You pay for a job now. You're looking for a job. You pay money to get a job. So why should I?
So those are the things, you know, beyond what we see on the street and we complain about. There are also structural and institutional issues that need to be corrected. And I think if this discussion hopefully would help bring out those things. We're complaining, we're not happy, but why is it happening? If we're going to correct it, is the why that we need to answer.
So nipping it on the board will mean going back to the drawing board.
From the recruitment
process,
through the training process, the deployment. Some people pay money to be deployed on the roads because it's a revenue generating activity.
You know, talking about this deployment, somebody once told me, I don't know if it's true, that the orgas will want those vibrant ones on the road because there's a return kind of setup.
There's a kickback.
You know,
That's
they
what
have
we
to
hear.
give the orgas, you know, some money at the end
hear.
of the day. So I hope somebody's listening, you know, so that this could be tackled. A lot of times we've lost lives on the road because of unnecessary checkpoints. The economic situation could be better if people can move freely. You know, I'm not saying, a lot of times I personally have enjoyed, you know, the benefits of road safety on the road. The other day I was actually coming to work, my car broke down. A road safety man was on hand to help me. I've also had a situation in Port Harcourt where a policeman had to help me. But it's not like that's the regular thing they do. Some of them are quite humane.
I agree with you. Personally, I mean, I had a family member, 5 of them, that were involved in an accident on the Abuja-Kaduna highway. And it took minutes, really, for the road safety to go to their rescue. And it was a life-saving rescue because they were critically injured. They took them to the nearest hospital for first aid before they were transferred to Abuja. So there are good examples. But
we need more.
I have a question.
We need more of those good
You said
examples.
it took them minutes to get there. Who called them?
They know. So if there's an accident,
Sometimes
we must
close
commend the
by.
road safety. I don't want to single out a particular agency, but I know from experience and the job I do that there are good practices by some of these agencies, and this is an example I gave you.
Okay.
They have a monitoring system. I don't know how they do it, but if there is an accident, believe me, most times give them minutes. You see the road safety, and sometimes with ambulances. This I've seen severally. And because of the work I do, I encourage whoever is traveling to have those numbers. There are emergency numbers for road safety that you can call up, and they would respond. So they are an example in that regard.
They won't tell you that they don't have fuel in their car.
Frankly, on a serious note, I have never experienced that. One time that you call that number, I can't remember, they have either 122 or, yes, I think it's 122. You call that number, somebody picks it, you tell them it's an emergency, you tell them where, and believe me, in minutes they're there. I've seen it.
I've never called any of them. I've never really done that. But I want to believe that if I get to need them at any point in time, they'll respond. But I think, in some other places, and indeed in private sector, we have scenarios where staff are usually given, ratings, so to speak. I think that they should introduce it. If I get impressed, it's not just by accident or anything. If I get impressed with the units in Area 11, for instance, I should be able to go to a place and rate them and state why I'm rating them. So that way we encourage their office to give them a tap at the back, and then when they get to receive this, coming from the members of the public, I don't believe it when you yourself tell me this is your best staff. If the members of the public are saying this sector in Area 11 are consistently very good, then they are publicly recognized, remunerated if it's possible, then it will encourage others to do well. The ones that do bad too, we should be able to call them out.
There should be like a customer service
thank you.
line or
I talked
email
about
address
monitoring and evaluation. It's completely absent in our security architecture, unfortunately. It's all of them. All of them. And I think that is what this Buhari administration attempted to change when it released the revised national security strategy. And we're told there will be a paradigm shift from state-centric to people-centric. Unfortunately, the implementation is what we're waiting for.
That's always the problem.
We're waiting for that to happen. Meanwhile, more
implementation
messages
never happens.
are coming in. Let's quickly react to some of them. Thank you for the topic. The whole mess was as a loss, I think, or lack of clear cut on the functions of agencies and paramilitaries. Uniformed men often see themselves as above the law and thus use discretion to be the law they are meant to enforce. This continued on arbitrary. In the actual sense, they all know the right things to do. Okay, that's coming from Mohammed in Kaduna.
Some of them don't know the right things to do. Some of them don't. Like you were saying, like they need to go for proper training. But every year they pass budget. There's
a budget for training.
There's a budget for training, but there's no training taking place.
Okay. All right, Yahya Shaibu says, okay, I just text to say hello. I'm a fan of NTA and a regular viewer. Thank you so much. Continue, and I hope we make you proud of us with what we do. And good morning, sincerely. This is quite disheartening that law enforcement agents aren't conversant with their job. Are they supposed to check car tire expiry dates? Car tire expiry.
Really?
Yes, for your safety. For your safety. If road safety, we should check that, because if for instance, not just you, but if your tires are expired and something, I know someone, for instance, that was traveling all the way, I think, from Lagos. He arrived at Abuja, and just around Lugbe, the tire came off the vehicle. So imagine the consequences. Firstly, you're a threat to yourself. Then the moving tire is a threat to the other vehicle.
Okay, wait, hold on,
Not
hold on.
just that.
Before you go far,
When you
Auntie
slow
Lizzie,
down
wait.
suddenly, you can another person can.
If there's no
No,
grip,
wait.
if there is no grip
This
on-
goes back to what I said in the beginning. If your record of maintaining your car was in the system, they wouldn't need to stop to check your tire, because when you take your car for maintenance, there's a yearly, I can't remember, I've been out of the
vehicle inspection. The
vehicle inspection, that when you take your car, they check.
You get a roadworthiness stamp.
Exactly. They check your tires, the knobs, the brakes,
Like
the
I said,
engine fluid.
baby steps have been made, but we are not yet there. You can start thinking around the adulterated and fake products that we have in our market. So you can actually buy the item, but it's a fake one.
But if you if you take your money to buy fake, then you have it in the back of your mind that something will happen sooner rather than later.
The challenge is that you wouldn't know.
You don't know fake.
Sometimes you wouldn't, believe me, because it looks so genuine.
Then they must not know quality.
No.
Or they've been buying fake their whole life.
No.
Believe that.
It's more than that.
If you see where people are rewiring tires, you understand that.
Exactly.
And Lizzie,
Very old tire. They will rewind.
Growing up, right, when I was in high school, I used to work in a tire shop in Sears. So if you bring the first class fake tire, I will tell you this is fake.
That's you.
But that's because I know quality.
That's you. A lot of people don't know.
You're not going
that.
to bring me something because I want to save ₦5 that I
right.
It's not about that. It's just that unfortunately there are organizations, regulatory agencies that are supposed to ensure there are no fakes in the market, but the reality is that there are fakes
why
in the
wouldn't
market.
you get fake if you go to Mechanic Village?
Okay, let's take a break.
It's
We'll
there,
answer that question. But let's take a break now. We'll be right back. The show is still Conversations on NTA.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
All right, the show is Conversation. I've been talking about the multiple law enforcement agents on our roads today as we move around, and a whole lot has been said. But while we were taking that promo, Z was complaining about certain things. Z. Can
See
you
the
air your
complainant.
view? Air your view.
I saw the updated list. Is it from FRSC or is it from VIO? Share one of these enforcement agencies of what you should have in your car. And my eye went straight to razor blade. Then Auntie Lizzie is telling me it's for safety. Auntie Lizzie, there's nothing safe about razor blade.
Before I
in
even
your car.
empty it, please tell her why we need to have razor blade or knife or scissors.
No, they didn't say knife or scissors. They said razor blade.
Okay,
Let's
so why do we need
keep
it?
this razor blade in mind. Continue.
I have been in a situation where I was arrested because I didn't have razor blade, and this is like a decade ago. So razor blades, they're important. Firstly, they should be in the first aid box. If you don't have a scalpel, then you should have a blade. There are circumstances that you can, find yourself where that blade will be a life-saving device.
Okay, let me come
one.
to you as a medical doctor now, or somebody that is using sense inside the matter. Let's say I have an accident, my airbag deploys, my seatbelt jams, I'm already shaky. Last thing I need to be doing is looking for a razor blade that will cut me in the process of trying to cut that seatbelt because I'm already panicking. I'm
So
shaking.
how do you get yourself out of that situation if you don't have a blade?
Scissors. There's a reason white man made scissors. It is safer.
I know, but the level of
If we're talking about safety,
the level of our education and literacy is not everybody that actually. I mean, to think about the commercial driver and you tell him to get a scissors.
how much is it? You don't need to get fancy scissors. Just regular scissors. Even scissors that tailor will use to cut.
I see your point, but you also have to realize that not everybody is as educated as you are.
Even the uneducated one, scissors will cut. A razor will cut you. You have more.
I interpreted it more like if I don't have a scissors,
then you should have a blade.
Then they should put. They should take out razor.
Emergency reactions really are different. I personally, I don't panic when I have emergency,
situations.
Effects. I am usually very calm.
That's
and
you, one in a million.
I don't get scared. I was driving with my children in the car. It failed brake on a hill. We're descending.
Wow.
I just told them, this car, we've lost brake. And I managed it to where I parked. It was after the whole thing that
adrenaline
now came. But at the time it happened, I'm usually very level-headed. So reactions.
You're in the situation. Lizzie, after this, I'm not talking about in the situation. After the situation,
I'll cut that thing and finish it
with
when
ease.
I come back. And I'll look back and say, this is 007.
Oh boy, there's a reason why I'm not a surgeon, because I'll be like this. The next thing I know, one finger has gone.
I want to, look at a situation. The way our police, why do I keep saying police? It's not just them. Yeah. The law enforcement agencies, the way they stop our vehicles on the road. There was one social media video that I saw, I wish I had it here, where a road safety man was carried on the bonnet. Yeah. And personally, I had seen at Garki Market here one Sunday, I was moving out with my daughter. In fact, I had to throw up. A road safety personnel was trying to stop a car. Whether he didn't have a brake, I don't know. But he took the man up. Mm-hmm. He took the man up. I thought it was a rag going up. I didn't know it was the man himself. Because it was like, it happened. I saw him trying to stop that car. I also saw the car, carry something up. I thought it was a rag. When he landed with a bank, I realized it was a human being. Mm-hmm. And it was the same road safety officer I saw.
In his uniform.
In his uniform. That was why I said like rag. It's a bit this thing. They took it up and down. Why do we need to stop people as if I'm a criminal? There's a very simple way.
You know what I ask them when they stand in front of my car? The first question I always ask them, if this was a train, would you stand here? Your life comes before this job, because if you die today, before they carry you to your house, they've already replaced you.
Oh, that man died. It was 18th of December, 2 years ago. He died. And I was like, this man may have prepared for Christmas. And that Sunday, he may have given his wife money to make something special when he comes home for lunch.
So it's a two-way thing. Firstly, you spoke about it, the desire by the official, the personnel there, to carry out his job. The second part of it is the equipment at his disposal to carry out that job. In other climes, he doesn't need to stop the vehicle. All he needs to do is to take the
license
number,
plate.
and then he would do the follow-up action. I mean, if you are stopped, and for some reasons you beat that directive to stop, then there is a consequence. Unfortunately, because we do not have the kind of equipment and technology, the key to all of this is our digital signature as a nation. Every person should have that identity, either digitally or, as it were, the biometrics that we were talking about at the beginning. And I think there's an attempt, if I'm right, by the Ministry of Communications and New Technology to create that digital signature in the country, so that every Nigerian would have an identity tied to him. When we have that, all of these things they don't have to do it with their physical either bodies or sometimes throwing themselves on the line. But I agree with her. No life is lost in this circumstance.
Definitely, our lives are important. Final words.
I just want to speak to the people that create these agencies. Can we use some sense while creating it? Think about not just because I won't say think about yourself, because you have law enforcement people that are taking care of you. You don't interact with us normal people. But think about us normal people, I beg. I can't be trying to figure out VIO, FRSC, SARS, Fuji, CIA, FBI. Kilo day.
All right, the kilo nothing. All right, it's they were all designed to make sure that we have a better life and better society, and we want to believe that it's not sport. The reason why we always have this discussion is to ensure that at the end of the day we cause a change in the society, positive change really, and we sincerely believe that with this, the law enforcement agents will take them to the next level. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll see you again next week. We'll bring you another exciting topic and very lovely personalities. Until then, keep your messages coming. We're going to reply you off the camera. Ciao, ciao.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the Star Times platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.